Okay, so we got to start today's news video with something a little different, very cool. This is Phase Thief Azir. He's a Void Ethereal, and he is one who, if you've played the campaign, and I suppose, spoiler warning, 3, 2, 1, here be spoilers, he's the one that betrayed Xal'atath. So this is the repaired and empowered Dark Heart. Illyria damaged it at the end of the campaign, then of course the goblins are going to fix it up, and Phase Thief Azir basically nicked it. Here he is standing alone at the precipice of a ravaged world. He is standing before an all too familiar swirl, and it seems he's about to do something crazy. And with this, we almost certainly know where patch 11.2 is headed. Man, I think it's going to be awesome in theme. But there's a lot more. This is an edition of the news. There's lots of 11.1 to cover with Mythic Plus changes and even a way to fill your Great Vault in around 30 minutes. Not even joking, not hyperbole, it's kinda broken. Let's start with the lore, and simply put, I think that the ending cinematic here just told us what patch 11.2 is going to be, and that is Karesh, the fallen homeworld of the Ethereals. Basically a little bit like Argus in the Legion expansion, but, swap the green for purple. Now, take a look at this swirl. This swirl matches loads of world soul or life-related imagery, and it's right over a big glowing orb housed in loads of rock. It almost looks prison-like, and while it could be many things, I think it's most likely Karesh's world soul, or at least whatever remains of it, and that makes a lot of sense because Blizzard just recently set up that Karesh did in fact have a world soul in the prologue of this expansion. And Azir is wielding basically a stolen battery full of void goo, necromantic hunger, Dalaran juice, and now Azeroth's key to evolution, Khajiit, which really is something. The question then is, what's Azir going to do? Well, he's either going to feed what's left to the Dark Heart, basically suck Karesh's essence into it, or he's going to do the opposite. Maybe plug the Dark Heart in as if it's a battery and see if we can get that World Soul engine started. We don't exactly know, but whatever it is, I think this is clearly setting the stage for something absolutely huge. Now, you may be thinking that seems convincing, but why patch 11.2? Let me explain. So, thing number one, Xal'atath's whole thing is the Dark Heart. That has been her sole objective since the Dragonflight expansion. Illyria damaging it clearly pissed her off at the end of the War Within, and she nearly spat at Gallywix when she found out that he lost it. Her immediate next move is going to be to chase the Dark Heart to, well, very much it seems to be Karesh. And of course, our goal is to chase her, which will take us to Karesh. The second point then is that back in beta, we already had guessed, beta of this expansion, we already guessed that Undermine was our second raid. Data-mined icons called Goblin Raid were found, which kind of gave away the game, along with some minor hints in-game, so we basically connected the dots. Well, another thing was found. Ethereal Raid icons. Does again give us a little bit of a clue. Thing 3 then, the Ethereal conspiracy has been building speed very fast. We have so many moving parts now. There's Kaivessa most recently. Of course, before that, there's Shadreen and the Mysterious Master. It's about time Blizzard cashed all that in, and if you actually want to stand a chance of understanding it, hey, I did a video specifically on that just a few days ago that you can watch after this. Point 4, we've been promised something big for Midnight. Chris Metzen said the forces of Void have invaded in Midnight. He didn't say will, he said have. Yeah, it was kind of cool when we listened to that dialogue in the penny drops. And basically, we've got one major patch and one epilogue left until Midnight begins, so we're going to have to see that shit start soon. Now, with Karesh as a ruined world, it'll probably be quite similar to Argus. I'd imagine lots of purple rock, whatever remnants of ethereal society maybe look like, before the apocalypse, maybe little holdout areas. And of course, there'll be a lot to learn about the character of Locust Walker, who again is a mystery who's been really just looming over the game since the Argus patch. All seriously exciting, but what if you were thinking about the Rootlands and the Haranir? Especially because there was a leaked development map called Rootlands. It actually showed it as a leveling zone, so maybe that's just cut content entirely. Maybe we will have like a smaller zone in 11.1.7 that's like dealing with the Haranir story. It's kind of hard to tell at this stage. Honestly, I'm really excited, but let's bench that and move to the present where we have a lot of Season 2 things to talk about. And first up, we've got the new version of Mythic Plus. Apparently the difficulty reshuffle has actually left Mythic Plus 2s with a massive depletion rate, which I didn't really think it would happen. Kind of crazy. So Blizzard have made some rapid changes here. The death penalty is now gone for Mythic Plus 2s and Plus 3s. Blizzard said this is to add an extra layer of accessibility for those just starting out. I kind of hope it paves the way for even more changes like this. I mean, look, the death timer is fine in principle, but it's added to things like lost DPS, the time that you've got to spend running back. I mean, there's already a death penalty. Why have even more of a death penalty? You've got res times as well. So, yeah, more of this Blizzard. I think it's a good change. As for Season 2, we'll do a full in-depth review soon for Mythic Plus to see how the changes have panned out, but it's a little too early for that. But you know what you may just be early enough for? Filling your Great Vault in just one easy step. Okay, this is kind of wild. I don't even know if this is intentional, but do you remember being able to farm Zekfir to quickly fill your Great Vault in Season 1? So Blizzard hotfixed that in Season 1, so you could no longer do it. Now, this might be an accident, but in Season 2, you can do this with the Underpin. If you kill him on his 1 question mark difficulty, the game considers that to be a Tier 8 delve, and that gives you a piece of maxed out vault gear, right? That's a 649 bit of hero gear. Now, at around item level 620, on a character that's basically been untouched since last patch, the Underpin boss goes down in about 3 minutes, and that means you can max out your Great Vault in under half an hour. Even with this patch's starter gear. Blizzard might hotfix this for the next reset, so now may be your only time to do it, but there is actually a little chance that this is intended, and I'll explain why. Blizzard changed this for Zekfir because it literally killed any reason to do delves. You just do Zekfir, fill up your vault, and that was that. But now you can get runes and even gilded crests from higher tier delves, like tier 11. So even if you were rapidly clearing out underpins to fill up your vault, well, you'd still want to do harder delves to get gilded crests and to get more runed crests, so it could actually be that Blizzard will just let this stand. Okay, as for the boss himself, well, he's a lot more simple than Zekfir was. You'll want to bring DPS Bran with curios like Pocket Factory or Death Bomb and Bioprinter, and then basically just nuke him. Whenever he spawns ads, they will do unavoidable damage and throw one-shots at you, so, you know, focus them. But don't kill them normally. Kick the bombs at them. 3 bombs is enough to blow them all up. And a big tip as well, don't click. Instead, bind and use the interact key. It's way easier that way. If you don't do that, you'll just, well, you'll have an aneurysm over how hard it is to click the damn things. Anyway, with the ads dead, basically just kick any nearby bombs away to make some space, dodge his flamethrower, and that's kind of about it. Whenever he's recharging, just break the shield to stop him from healing, though with like DPS Bran, you really shouldn't even need to save your cooldowns to break that. Now, his melees can hurt if you're undergeared and if you get unlucky with his AI, but again, defensives and a single healing potion should be enough to see you through. Just take your time, focus on actually killing the cronies, doing the mechanics right, and once you do that, the rest of the fight will just fall into place. Now, there is a harder difficulty, and we will be working on a guide, but first we're going to have to defeat him, so that might be next week. Next, though, it is a sad day because the best way to refarm loads of weathered crests has been removed from the game. It used to be if you flew through the Azerite Orbs, you would get weathered crests if, like, your character could take more. No, that's no longer the case, though you will instead get some Valor Stones. So, if you want to get crests, I would say the best way to do that for weathers is like doing scrap, which is at least an equally effortless activity. Yeah, doesn't kind of make that much sense. I sort of see why they've done it. Maybe it's a bug and they'll revert it, but probably not. It does seem, I don't want to say anti-fun, but you know, it's weathered crests. Kind of just want to get them. Anyway, TLDR, if you like getting weathered crests with 0 effort, basically just spend all day jumping between scrap heaps and undermine instead of flying through the orbs. And at least as you do those scrap heaps, you will get Kazumite cans, and yeah, you can spend those on things that can get you a mount. Our next story is going to be a bit of a surprise. Turns out there's a whole other cartel that you can get rep with. You see, there was speculation of a hidden 5th cartel that no one could find in PTR, and we finally know why. It was locked behind finishing the campaign. Now that you finish the campaign, it's, well, not hidden. So, once you get Gallywix down and complete the campaign, which you can either do this week doing the raid or next week in story mode, then the Dark Fuse will basically leave a letter inviting you to a meeting. You'll then find that they have got an old school reputation turn-in grind, and it'll give you rewards like the Regobulator toy, the rather fierce looking Demolisher, and a really incredible like detective meets assassin coat that I definitely want. Now, you can grind the market research that you need for these guys through scrap, trash cans, mob grinding, or just killing rares. It's a fairly long grind. You'll need 8,400 research, but hey, it's a pretty dope coat, so I think it's kind of worth it. Okay, next, the strange thing. Don't go and do Legion content, because apparently certain areas of the Legion expansion will brick your character. Allegedly, Dalaran is safe, so you should be able to use that just for teleporting around the world, but as for the rest, yeah, just don't go there. People have been saying that basically they're getting like DC'd, they're getting crashes, but of course if the crash is tied to where your character is, well, as soon as you log in after the crash, you'll immediately crash again. We don't really know why, but the obvious theory is some rebuilding, maybe to support Legion Remix, has potentially went wrong. Anyway, steer your characters very, very clear from the Broken Isles, unless of course you really don't want to do Raid Night and you just want to have a brick character that you can use as an excuse. Okay, final PSA. If you thought you lost your mind thinking, I really did think that like warband transfers were a thing in the game, but then you found that in the patch they're not, well, that's because with Reset, Blizzard actually broke the UI, so the transfer button was not showing up. Thankfully, it is fixed now, but oddly enough, they've disabled undercoin transfers. Now, I think that might be because people could funnel coins to one character in order to afford the extra keys every week, or maybe like to buy the scrambler that forces the underpin to spawn. Does seem to be pointlessly restrictive though, so let's just hope that's also a mistake and they will fix it soon. But okay, that's it. That's the news. But you know what? You want some crazy shit? Watch this video next.